Season 4 of the fan-favorite anime show Castlevania is out on Netflix, and it is the last season of the show. Now that is sad because the last 3 seasons were pretty amazing, and we wouldn't have complained if the show ran for a little longer, but Season 4 is so good that you won't mind the fact that it is the last season.
Command the infinite corridor. I will have complete access to 1,000,000 different worlds.
So here are 10 things we loved about the 4th season of Castlevania. Let's get started!
Varney of London, your conspirator and benefactor.
Number 10. Signature weapons obtained. Castlevania received a lot of love from its fans and viewers due to the show's lead characters and iconic monsters. However, one of the most underrated aspects of the series was its signature weapons. It's not like Season 1, 2, and 3 of Castlevania didn't have any good weapons. There were great signature weapons and pieces of armor in those installments of the show as well. For example, you might remember Trevor's trademark whip or Alucard's Symphony of the Night shield from the show, right? In the 4th and final season of Castlevania, we got to see Trevor equip the Ruler of Sword. And the way that action sequence is shot is absolutely phenomenal. Speaking of action sequences, here's what we like next about this show. Number 9. Cleaner art style and top-notch fight animations. Everyone loved the carefully written and executed plot of Castlevania throughout the 4 seasons. But in the final season, you can observe a very observable improvement in the artistry and design. This is one of the biggest contributors to the success of this anime series. Every episode has been designed with perfection, and each episode has its own set of action set pieces that showcases Trevor, Cyphers, or Alucard's work as individuals or as a team. Also, the way the environment, monsters, weapons, abilities, and props were used in action-packed scenes is absolutely amazing. Number 8. Boss fights. This is the moment that every anime fan waits for, the boss fight. Boss fights have to be absolutely spot on and brutal. The audience should be kept engaged during the action sequence. If the boss fight is underwhelming, the whole show becomes underwhelming despite the story and everything. The way the boss fights in Season 4 of Castlevania were choreographed was reminiscent of the boss fights we see in these over-the-top video games. We also saw a similar style of a boss fight in Season 3 involving Trevor. Isaac vs. Carmilla was the most notable fight of them all, and then we also had the fight between Trevor and Death, which was the biggest boss fight from the show. It's up to you which boss fight you liked the most. Number 7. Concurrency in the plot. Season 3 took some inspiration from the popular HBO show Game of Thrones in terms of narration and storytelling. So basically, there were 4 storylines running at the same time. Isaac, Hector, and Carmilla and her sister stories happen on one end, while Trevor and Cyphers happen on another, and Alucard and Saint Germain are on the last plot thread. Now, when you're running like 4 stories concurrently, there are many plot holes and it may also leave your viewers confused regarding what the hell is going on in the show. But the makers of the show have made the concurrency work so well that it never seemed like a problem. In the latter stages of the show, the concurrent stories were reduced to 2, where all the main characters have proper yet indirect ties. The peripheral attempts to resurrect Dracula in various corners of the world were technically tying all the characters together. This was done beautifully to tell parallel and interconnected storylines at the same time. Number 6. Jojo references and similar style of continuation. How many of you have seen the iconic anime show Jojo? Well, Jojo is the benchmark that anime shows try to reach these days, and you will see many plotlines in different anime shows that refer to the iconic anime masterpiece. The way the makers have set up the ending, we can expect some sort of continuation, which might happen outside the Castlevania universe. Going back to the games, the lore of Castlevania follows a similar notion in protagonists, with different stories featuring a Belmont from a different generation, with Dracula serving as a kind of prophesied eternal nemesis. While it's possible letting Dracula revert to insanity could come across as sloppy and harsh, but there's plenty of space for imagination. With Alucard's likely return, Christopher, Simon, and Richard Belmont are all feasible options. But things may become a lot wilder. It's possible that an original protagonist will emerge, or that Somo Cruz will appear in the futuristic 2035 Aria of Sorrow setting. Number 5. The cliffhangers. Now, we all know that Season 4 of Castlevania was the final season of the show, and we will not get any other season in the upcoming years. So it doesn't make sense to include cliffhangers in a season that is the last season of a show, right? Because in the last season, you try to conclude every running storyline in the right way. Well, things are different with the Season 4 of Castlevania. There was closure for many major characters in the show.
Of course not. You're the one driving the horse.
But there were many unexplained plot lines left in the last episode that needed continuation and looks like a potential cliffhanger. So, will there be a spin-off to continue those plot lines outside the Castlevania universe? We don't know, really. Number 4. Death was Dracula's revival. Dracula was the biggest villain in the first 2 seasons of Castlevania, but in the next 2 seasons, it's more about the fight for supremacy in the absence of Dracula. Varney is a new addition to the Castlevania franchise, and he plays the role of Dracula's resurrection.
That's not what happened.
Shut up.
But it turns out that Varney is just a cover, as Varney was Death in disguise all this time. Death is the biggest villain of the show, and obviously, his arrival cannot be straightforward, right? There has to be a twist in it to catch the fans off guard. The final fight between Trevor and Death is probably the best boss fight in the show, and longtime show fans definitely enjoyed Death's arrival. Number 3. Treva and Cyphers' romance. While Trevor was the hard-hitting protagonist in the show, his soft and romantic side was beautifully shown in Castlevania's last season. The show portrayed the odd couple-like union of Trevor and Cypher. Now, we can't expect a gothic horror anime to have classic romantic elements, right? But the show does have some light moments in a sense of humor and romance. In this last season, Treva and Cypher experience a wide range of emotions, but they are finally ready to embrace their feelings for each other and take things to the next level. Although Castlevania is a series that does not require romance, this relationship develops naturally and becomes the focal point of the final episodes. Number 2. Paving the Way for Others. Now that the show has ended, we can now look forward to a possible video game adaptation. We have seen the video adaptations of shows like Devil May Cry, Resident Evil, and Assassin's Creed, and now Castlevania has paved the way for even more exciting video game adaptations. Many fights in the show had a kind of video game feel to it. For that reason, it appears to be the ideal format for making truly fantastic video game adaptations. This could become the most popular and effective way to adapt gaming titles in the near future, and other fantastic indie games, such as Hades, could benefit from it. The excellent voice acting, character design, plot, and high-octane action appear to be great for a fantastic video game title. Number 1. The happy ending sequence sort of worked. One thing that many series makers forget or undermine is the need for a proper conclusive ending for every main character in the show. We often see many shows where we are left asking for more of a character as he or she doesn't get a proper ending. But in Season 4 of Castlevania, all the key characters from the show who have been a part of the storyline since Season 1 or 2 get a proper conclusive ending. Now, many characters like Lenore, Saint Germain did not get as much screen time as the friends would have liked. But by the final episode of the season, they got their ending, and it was rather satisfying and made complete sense. Also, it's nice that the makers gave a nice and optimistic ending to the main protagonists of the show, which is something that is rare to see in dark fantasy anime shows. The main leads of the show, Isaac, Hector, and Carmilla, all have satisfying endings, and the first 5 have emotionally resonant ending arcs that don't feel forced or cruel for the sake of darkness like many dark anime shows do. That's all for today! If you like this video, press the like button. Also, if you think there were some other things about Season 4 of Castlevania that should be appreciated, tell us in the comments. If you are new to this channel and like our content, press the subscribe button and press the bell icon for timely notifications. Till then, see ya!